Hi guys, I've got a couple more pages in my December daily album for you today. Both of these are using the Made Merry kit from Feed Your Craft and Brandy Kincaid. These are still available, so if you have decided that you want to join the gang and put together a December album, I will leave a link down for you below in the description box. I've got this photo of Lil, and yes, I forced her into a Santa outfit to take a photo for a Christmas card that I never ended up even putting together. So I decided I would put the photo into my album anyway because her poor little face just looked so embarrassed. So I picked out a 4x6 candy cane card. I had to because it's one of my favorites in the kit. And I'm just going to use a couple of these die cut trees next to it because they're so pretty. The colors in this kit are really nice. Like, they're not like super traditional, which obviously I really like. So I've picked out the two that are the same, and one I've just stuck straight down onto the card, and the other one I just want to lift it up a little bit just to give this a little bit of interest, otherwise it's quite flat. So just adding a few little foam squares and then battling to get the backs off them. Those foam squares are pretty old. You'll know I don't use foam squares a lot, so they're a little bit stiff to get off. And I'm going to make a shaker card, not necessarily a shaker pocket, a shaker card with the sequin mix that I made for myself to match this Made Merry kit. So I am using the little plastic wrap pocket thingy that the 3x4 cards came in. Just cut that down so it's just slightly smaller than 3x4, but you can see I've only cut two sides, so I've kind of got like a little pocket. Just makes it easier to put the sequins in. So I'm just gonna take a couple of pinches. There's no scientific measurement here. I was trying not to overfill it because I do want the card still to be slightly flat. And then I'm just going to stitch that with my sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could hand stitch it, or certainly, I've never tried my fuse tool with that sort of plastic. I would experiment first if you were going to use a fuse tool, maybe on the piece that you cut off, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work if you were quick enough. It is very thin plastic. Now, I had picked out this 3x4 card, but in the end I decided not to use it. The sentiment wasn't quite right, and I wanted to use one of the stamps instead. So this stamp says "'Tis the Season." And I figured if I did a little bit of stamping at the top, then I could type my journaling onto the card underneath it. So I'm just going to stamp it out in black ink, and then I've used the little holly stamp, and I've cheated and stamped them both at the same time. And the little, is it holly? I don't know if I'm right. It might be holly. It might be something else. But my brain's not working. It's very early in the morning here. It's got a little filler in a stamp. So I'm going to fill that in with like green ink. But this green I picked, it's way too bright, way too yellow. So I ended up grabbing a different ink and stamping the top leaf. So I've ended up with like a two-tone little holly there. I'm going to go with holly. And I just filled in the little berries just with a red pen. I can't find my red gel pen, so I ended up having to use a highlighter. And then, like I said, I just ran that straight through my typewriter. Now I'm actually going to work on the back of this page as well at the same time because I had another photo. None of these photos are sort of huge and need like big double page spreads or anything, but they are little photos that I did want to add into my album. And this photo is me drinking in front of the tree. We had just got, and I say we, I had just got the tree up, undecorated, but it had the lights up, and I decided to sit down and have a drink. I think it was a Friday night, and I had some pink gin, which may well be my drink of this season, so I just took a little cheers photo of that. So I'm using a couple of the tiny little stamps beside my photo. The photo is pretty bright and sparkly and doesn't really need a lot of other embellishment, but I really wanted to use this "'Tis the Season" die cut on both sides, so both pages sort of have that "'Tis the Season" title to them. They looked a bit funny sort of sitting on the card by themselves, so I grabbed a tag, which I liked the shape, but I've only got these craft tags left, which doesn't really suit my colour scheme at all. So I had this cut apart sheet from the Merry Days collection, and I really loved this pink card with the Christmas tree. I thought the pink worked nicely with the page, and of course the Christmas tree worked well with the theme, so it seemed perfect. The size of it, however, was just, it wasn't quite right, and I sort of thought about trimming it down to be tag size, but then I worried that you would cut off too much of the tree. So I just used the tag as a template to cut the corners off, thinking I'd have like a big fat tag. But when I put it down, I mean, you can see there, like the proportions of it still aren't quite right. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and trim this down a bit. Also, the tree didn't seem to be printed like centered on that little piece, on the 3x4 piece. So I've just eyeballed it, but I've trimmed more off one side than the other, and then I'm just re-trimming those corners again. And I'm much happier with the proportions of it. It looks way more like a tag rather than just a 3x4 card that I've cut the corners off. Now, this is sort of how I want it to go, but I do want to do some journaling on this card as well, and I was intending to put it through my typewriter as well. So you'll see in a minute that doesn't really work because of course I've already stuck stuff down to the other side. So I'm just sticking my die cuts down on the little tag, and I did say I'm wondering, can I pull this off? But no, I can't. So I've got my tag ready. I just need somehow to do some journaling. So in the end, I decided to grab out another one of the cards from the kit. The great thing with the kit is that you get digital files, so it doesn't matter how many of these cards you use up, you can always print more. So I just grabbed one of these ones, which I was fairly sure I wasn't going to use this year because they've got this really beautiful polka dot on the back, and that was what I wanted to have as the background for this page. So you can see I've run that through my typewriter. All I do is just really loosely glue it onto some scrap paper and just run it through. And my typewriter is an old vintage typewriter, so there's no sort of help for that sort of thing. So the paper definitely does make it easier. I had just marked on the card with a little pencil mark where the typing should go, and then you just erase the mark and it looks like you've perfectly run it through a typewriter. So I've just stuck my fake tag down, and that's my pages all done. Pages. So you can see there, 2 pages, less than 15 minutes. It definitely doesn't have to be hard when you use a kit like this. It does make things a lot easier because everything coordinates nicely together. And of course, I had to add some sparkles in there too. This is a great kit, so if you don't already have it and think you would quite like to, I will leave my affiliate link down for you in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen, otherwise I'll see you next time. Bye guys!